Howdy. I hope y'all are doing well. Sorry, a couple minutes late. Last minute work requirements. Sometimes that happens. Got to take care of work, right? Got it taken care of. Now it's time to have a little fun. Feel like saying a little ho, ho, ho. Yeah, welcome to all of y'all. Welcome to episode 205, 206 or something of Cliff Notes Live. Welcome to another Monday night. We just got a couple more weeks until Christmas. Is that not amazing? I guess I'm starting to get into the Christmas spirit a little bit. Lord knows I'm hearing enough Christmas music, Christmas decorations, all that. So I figured this evening we'll probably talk a little Christmas, certainly some reality TV, and who knows what else we'll talk about. Before we do that, first of all, if you haven't already done so, please consider a subscription to my channel, turning on notifications, and you can hit the old thumbs up when you get done as well. I've heard that's a good thing. I always like my thumbs up. So thank you for all that. And let me start with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, especially love you guys that hang out with me every Monday night. And those of you who watch on repeat as well. Welcome one and all to the most wonderful time of the year. May still be Big Brother season, but this is dang close, right? All right, let's see. Now I'm going to answer some questions from last week before we get into some of these questions this week. But before I do that, so I check and see who is out here. I put out a notification for it a little late, so I was kind of curious to see who pops in on that as well. Lee Strack. Lee, how are you doing, my friend? Ed as well. Mark Taylor. Ma, how are you doing? Ma, Carol Mosier. Hey, Carol. Let's see who else. Cindy. Hey, Cindy. Karen Loveland. Laura Wirt. Kicks my glasses. I've been running everywhere. Big Jake 88, scary movie dude. Hey, Big Jake. Let's see who else we've got out here. Now I lost my place in line. Let's see. Is that about it? Carol Mosier as well. Amy Bonner. Wyatt Garrett. Don't let me forget Wyatt. We got a little special announcement here in a little bit. Karen Berkey, Marilyn Sutherland. Hey, Maryland. And I think we'll call it good there. And YG. All right, YG, I wasn't going to forget you. Welcome to all of y'all. We got a little talk about it. It was a fun week in reality TV, right? I had fun with a couple of the CBS shows, so we'll talk about that. Before we do, a couple of quick questions that I had last week. Sometimes I'm going through answering these questions as quick as I can, and we miss them a few here and there. So I just wanted to catch a few before we move on to new business, so to speak. So let's talk about all right, one of them. Amy Bonner. I'm not sure, Amy. I didn't see Amy out there, but Amy, if you're out there, if you see us later, Amy Bonner posted last week. We were talking about different shows, kids shows, Romper Room and Mr. Green Jeans and things like that, or Captain Kangaroo. Well, Amy Bonner pointed out, said, I was in the Bozo show. Well, Amy, just so you know, you and I have a little bit of a connection with one another because I too was in the Bozo show. Yes, I was 5 years old, 6 years old. I was just a wee child. But yes, I actually was in the Bozo show. My brother Robert and I were in the show. I still remember how we had so much fun. We didn't realize back then, I don't know. I was in the show. I thought everyone in the whole world had watched it and came home. Didn't realize maybe it was live, maybe not. I don't even know, but I got to compete in a little pass the hat game, kind of like musical chairs, except it was a hot potato type thing in reverse. We passed around a little hat that you had put on. I ended up coming in second place, and I was so proud of myself. I won a Yogi the Bear board game. Thought that was the coolest thing in the world that Mr. Bozo himself gave me. Bozo the Clown gave it to me. So, yeah, that was fun. I did not mention that while I was on Big Brother because I thought, yeah, they're going to just call me the Bozo or something like that. But yeah, I'm so glad to hear that you were on that, Amy. It was fun. My first foray into TV and acting silly on the TV screen. So there you go, Amy. Cool. Congratulations, my friend, my fellow Bozo alumni, so to speak. All right, let's see. We've got Mark Taylor. What did you think? All right, we'll get it. All right, so that was the old one. Now let's get into the new questions because we got a lot of Mark Taylor saying, what did you think of the winner of the summit? All right, so first of all, spoiler alert for any of you who have not seen it yet, that's still sitting on your DVR. The summit finished up. I liked it. I like the fact that everyone who made it to the end got some money because it bothered me a little bit that they didn't know that twist existed until the end. I kind of like the idea that they maybe would have been told that, hey, everyone you vote off is going to have a say, even if they didn't say exactly what it was, is going to have some influence on who gets the money at the end, just to force you to play a little bit more of a strategic game in terms of, and you just can't cut them loose and think that's the end of it. You've got to try to do it in a kind way, kind of like Big Brother does and Survivor and all the others. But they didn't do that. So because of that, I'm glad that no one got just completely cut out of the equation at all. I personally was kind of thinking Pumpkin was pretty deserving of it, but Nick got the bulk of it, right? If I recall, and I'm fine with that. Any one of those three, I would have been fine with it. I thought they did well, and I didn't think the folks that got sent home were too bitter. There were a little bitterness in there. I gotta say, I enjoyed the summit. I enjoyed a little bit more the first part than I did the second part. And I don't know if it's just the physical challenges towards the end. They just got kind of monotonous. How many times can you climb up a mountain? How many times can you zip line or cross a chasm and all? It got a little repetitive on that. And I didn't know if the strategy necessarily kept up as much as the first half of the show. But having said that, it's not Big Brother, but I enjoyed watching it. So yeah, congratulations to all three. Again, if they're going to do it again next time, instead of the summit, call it the valley or something like that. Now, supposedly these people didn't know they were going to be climbing a mountain when they started, right? Yeah. Do you think that was the case? They had to know something. I cannot imagine someone calling me up saying, hey, Cliff, we'd like you for a reality show. We're not going to tell you what it is, or maybe make up some kind of something. And then you get there and they say, well, no, it's not really, X, Y, Z. You're going to be climbing a little mini version of Mount Everest. And yeah, we'll give you money if you make it to the top. That'd be quite the kick in the seat of the pants to find that. So I don't know if they knew ahead of time or not. But yeah, it'd be interesting if they do a second season, just because now people have a little bit better feel for kind of what the game is. Sort of like Deal or No Deal Island. Now that you've seen one season, I think we'll see a lot more strategic play going forward. So I'm looking forward to season 2 of it. But I like the summit. But I'm ready for the Survivor still going strong. We're definitely going to talk about that. I'm ready for Big Brother. I'm ready for the Amazing Race. Some of those that just bring it on, babe. Bring it on. All right. Mark is saying, let's talk about Survivor. Who takes first place in Survivor? I think the last two are Sam and Andy. They deserve it. All right. What an incredible episode. Sharon and I were sitting there watching that. Just our jaws dropped. Is this going to work? Is it not going to work? How can they possibly pull this off? You had kind of, I'd say the bottom three. They actually were the top 3 targets. It was Sam and Andy and Genevieve, right? Am I getting her name right? If not, y'all tell me. The 3 of them and then everyone else. Well, Andy, they didn't know. He was part of the underdogs as well. But for them to be able to pull off what they pulled off is incredible. And Caroline's the one that got sent. I can't believe I have such a hard time still remembering names. But to send her home when the other side had advantages and immunity idol. Sue did not play her power. She's got immunity idol, right? It's just incredible that no one used it. Andy, I was thinking that he could make it to the final 3. And I really thought maybe he'll make it there. Someone will put him in fire making. At that point, then he won't make it any further. I'm kind of now pushing for Andy as my winner edit. That was incredible. What he pulled off. He now has his resume built. I mean, he could not do anything the rest of the time. He just needs to make sure he wins a competition or two. And that's the weekend, the weakness perhaps on there. Carol Mosier saying who will win Survivor. I don't know. Mark, I like your Sam and Andy thoughts at the end, because I think Sam's going to do pretty well. I think he's going to handle some of these challenges at the end. Andy, I still don't know. I think Andy, he's my sentimental choice. He's maybe the underdog that we needed, that I'm cheering for. If he makes it to the final chairs, if he's one of the final 3, I think Andy could get it. I think he's going to. I felt like he gave up a little too much information at Tribal Council. I think he should have stayed a little more quiet about the fact that he's behind anything or that he has any control. Save that until the final tribal and said, look, I'm the one that was behind this. I'm the one that was behind that. But yeah, I think if he makes it to the final 3 chairs, I want him to win, and I certainly think he could win. I'm still a little bit afraid that maybe he makes it to final 4 and gets cut at that point. We'll see. I mean, he may be great at making fire. He's fooled us on so much else. Genevieve, her and Sam, I think I said it last week. At this point in time, I don't have a problem with anyone who makes it to the end. I'm really curious to see. Wednesday's going to be a great episode. I want to see how Sue and Teeny behave or how they respond to the way this happened, because not what they were planning whatsoever. Certainly there's going to be some choice words. Normally we see the start of the new episode. It's dark. They're coming back from tribal. You maybe have a few minutes. Hey, can we go talk and all that? I think you're going to, it might as well be light as day, because I think you're going to see fireworks all over that place. They certainly are not going to be real trusting of Andy anymore. Is Sam going to be more trusting of Andy now that he kind of saved them? Or is Andy now just considered this devious person who no one can trust? I'm really looking forward to Wednesday's episode. I thought last Wednesday's was perhaps one of the best. I think it's the best Survivor episode this whole season, maybe for past few seasons. My jaw dropped. I the whole time, seat of my pants. Will it or will it not work? And let me say this. I mean, the tribe mates and all did a great job. I thought Survivor editing did a fantastic job of making sure that we couldn't tell one way or the other. Can I just say this as well? Whoever does the music for Survivor, they don't get nearly enough respect, but thumbs up to those guys. The way they build drama and everything they do, you don't even notice the music sometimes, but next episode y'all watch, just listen to the background of the music and how much, if you didn't have the music, that would be it'd just be a different show. You know, Big Brother, we don't have as much music because they're just showing a recap. I don't know. It's just not quite the same. But yeah, thumbs up to the music folks at Survivor. Can you tell I really like that episode? That was incredible. It was a fantastic one. All right. Laura Wirtz is saying, finally got to catch me live. Well, welcome aboard, Laura. I'm glad you did. Now, I do have this as a replay, so people can always go out and watch it a little bit later if they need to and all of that. But I'm glad you're here with us because you're live. If you got any questions, throw them out there. No problem. I try to read. I try to read as much as I can, but sharing helps as well. Putting down a lot of questions that I just can't keep track of. But yeah, Laura, if you got any questions, now's the time to throw them out there. Kind of open tonight, reality TV, Christmas, whatever else y'all want to talk about. All right. Ed is saying, in the debate, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? All right. And then Cindy Hire saying no. Ma saying no. I don't want to make anyone mad. That seems like that's more divisive than politics could be. I'll give y'all my personal opinion. I think that Die Hard has a holiday theme to it. I'm not sure that I consider it. Do I dare say it? I'm gonna say I'm gonna put it in the category of not a Christmas movie, only because I can watch Die Hard any time of the year. It doesn't have to be Christmas time. So for that reason alone, I'm gonna rule on the no side. But certainly, there's a lot of Christmas behind it. What's the body that falls? Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho. I mean, there's a few Christmas comments made in there, but yeah, when I think of Christmas, that's probably not the first one I think of. So I'll do it. Do y'all want to know? Amongst many, probably my favorite. I really like Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase on. That's pretty good. But probably my favorite Christmas movie of all time. Miracle 34th Street's right up there. I love that as a kid. But I'm going to say my favorite of all time, Jingle All the Way. Y'all remember that one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad? He's trying to find just the one toy. It's all his son wants is one toy. And he can't find it anywhere in town. And he's kind of going to get in trouble with the wife if he can't find it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Maybe because I've been through that particular scenario once or twice. See, I do have kids, so I know what it's like to be looking for toys. Oh, I remember one year Toy Story came out, and I can't remember. My son wanted Woody, and which is fine. There, Woody's all over. My daughter wanted Jesse. Could not find the Jesse Toy Story doll anywhere. I've hit in places. Every Toys R Us, which isn't even a thing now, but back then it was. Every Toys R Us I was going to, I finally found my Jesse and doing a little dance. There's a scene in that movie where everyone's waiting for the toy store to open its front doors, and there's a certain number of the whatever superhero dolls that his son wants. They can see it there. Everyone's crowding around. The doors fling open. Everyone's just fighting over each other, pushing each other into displays. And in the background, they're playing "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year." It's incredible. People just act different during Christmas, whether it's Black Friday, whether it's just trying to get those toys for your kids. It's kind of animalistic, which is sad in a way, but also, if it's presented the right way, a little humorous. Yeah, I love Jingle All the Way. Y'all tell me what y'all's favorite. Two things. What's your favorite Christmas movie? Post it out here. I'll try to look for those. Mine is Jingle All the Way. The other favorite Christmas song. I am hearing so much Mariah Carey. I think that's the only song they know. But what's y'all's favorite other Christmases? I think mine is either going to be The Little Drummer Boy. Always a spot in my heart for that. Or I don't know, maybe Silent Night, just because my daughter was born a few weeks before Christmas. I just remember that song playing on her first Christmas, so it has some sentimental value. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all's favorites are. And again, sorry for those of you who consider Die Hard a Christmas movie. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I enjoy it 365 days out of the year. So therefore, it moves beyond a Christmas story, just a Christmas movie. Man, I love that. Nakatomi Tower. Perfect. God. Yippee-ki-yay. Y'all feeling the rest. All right. Amanda's saying, we need the video of Cliff on the Bozo show. Oh, if only they had VCRs or DVDs or anything back then. I do have a picture that I found. We spent all weekend long up at my mom's house clearing out, going through old photos and seeing old letters and old stories. And two things I found. Well, I found a lot of things, but two things I'll mention right here. I found a picture of me from the Bozo show. Old Polaroid, a little bit blurry, but still good. You see me, my hair cut short, like a buzz cut. But you can see me on there standing out there playing the game. I'll post that for y'all, or I'll put it up on the screen maybe as a backdrop like next week or something. But I had that. And I also found a picture of my skunk Oreo. When I was a kid, for those of you who don't know, I think I've mentioned on here before, I had a skunk, pet skunk Oreo. When I tried out for Big Brother, they couldn't believe it. I said, no, I'm not joshing you. I really did. And we found a picture of it. It doesn't look like anything except a big old black Brillo pad or something. He's a little white in the middle, but this wasn't the big old Pepe Le Pew kind of skunk. This was a tiny little rat looking skunk. But I do have a picture of it. So I'll post that next week as well. So, yeah, we found a lot of pictures. I could tell a lot of stories. We'll see how tonight goes. Maybe I'll throw one or two out there because I found out all kinds of personal family histories, some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, it's a shame. It's rough. First Christmas without my mom and all that, but it was a lot of fun seeing all the stories and pictures. There's a part of me that says, why didn't you show me some of this stuff earlier? I bet there's some stories that went along with some of this stuff. But yeah, so it's true. But yeah, I found Bozo the Clown and I found Oreo the skunk, both of them. Miss Fire saying, skunks rule. How long do you live? I don't know, Miss Fire, because that was one of those pets that just mysteriously one day went to live on a farm. We lived in the suburbs, and as far as I remember, I think when we moved from Fort Worth to Arlington when I was a kid, at some point along the way, my mom said, hey, Cliff, just so you know, Oreo got a little older and decided to move to the farm. So Oreo's having some fun there. I had a dog named Dusty who unfortunately bit another kid in the seat of the pants one time. Kid was poking him with a stick. I am not necessarily blaming Dusty, but unfortunately, after Dusty bit the kid in the backside and kind of drew blood, Dusty also went to live on a farm somewhere. It must have been a long way away because I never got a chance to go visit Dusty on that farm. Probably just as well. So I don't know. Dusty's probably living out there somewhere even now, saying, "Yeah, I used to know that guy that's on that show." All right, Karen Hummer saying, "Do you and Sharon make Christmas treats?" Yeah, we make treats. We do pralines and some peanut candies and what else do we do? I like peppermint. What's the minty stuff? I break up the peppermint and melt it all together and all that stuff. Yeah, we do that. She does. I mean, she does most of that. I'll do the crushing. She does the baking and all that. And normally only about half the peppermints make it into the bowl. But we do some treats and we'll do some desserts and things like that. Especially when the kids are coming over, which just does. We'll make some in preparation and send it to them and everything. But more so when they're coming over, we'll get a lot of that kind of stuff ready. And I go out and I buy a lot of my old favorite Christmas candies from when I was a kid. My favorite candy is that ribbon candy. You can buy it even nowadays, and I don't know, it's just ribbon, all different flavors. And I always put it all out on a plate. And every time I do, just the humidity in the air down here in Houston starts kind of doing its work on that candy. Within a few hours, it's all sticky and everything, but it's still so good. But we do that. My favorite for a long time, I haven't gotten in a while, but my favorite present for a long time, or my traditional present from someone, was always chocolate covered cherries. I eat a lot of chocolate covered cherries. Queen Anne, I think they called it. Love it. I'm a big sweet guy. I'm not so big into the potato chips and all that, but I love my sweets. I gotta say, at Big Brother house, it was so dangerous in there because they would give us every week in the storage room, you'd get your food. Well, they would put 2 bags of those miniature Hershey's candies in the storage room. 2 bags. That's what we got. And so we would open those up and we'd put them in a bowl in the kitchen. And I could always tell who liked what. The Hershey's would disappear right off the bat. The Hershey's dark chocolate, usually a little bit later. Always the Mr. Peanut stayed to the very end, and the Crackle stayed to the very end. No one liked the rice or the peanut in their chocolate. It didn't bother me. But yeah, we always got 2 bags of that. And I had to really ration because otherwise I'd eat it all on the first day. And then not only would I not have any more, then I'd have everyone mad at me. Should have done it and blamed it on someone. I blamed it on Mickey. That was, they would have bought that, right? But yeah, I love me some chocolates, chocolate covered cherries, primo. Let's see. Carol Mosier saying, "Does anyone still send Christmas cards?" Not as much as we used to, right? I think we've got some we may send out this year, but it's gone down. I know the last time I really, maybe I'll ask Sharon before I just start throwing out whether we do or not. I personally don't send out a lot of Christmas cards. The last time I sent out a lot of Christmas cards was right after my season of Big Brother, 2019. I got everyone's address. I sent out Christmas cards to all 15 of my co-house guests and wished them a Merry Christmas. Did I put something in there? I don't remember. I feel like I added some little something to them. I don't remember, but I sent Christmas cards to everyone. And yeah, that was fun. That was us trying to stay in touch with each other and keep track of each other and all of that. So I did that. Since then, not so much. COVID, I feel like COVID just kind of shut it down, and it shouldn't have. I mean, COVID's when you should have been sending out Christmas cards to everyone, right? But I feel like everyone just became so isolated. You know what I remember, and maybe this is why we don't do Christmas cards as much, because I feel like we do so many Zoom calls on Christmas, talking to the extended family. We'd have our Zoom calls were hilarious. 9 different panels. Half the people are, you can't hear them because someone's in the back flushing a toilet, or the oven is buzzing, or someone's eating, or someone's acted silly in the camera, kids running around. A lot of pandemonium taking place on our Zoom calls. But I feel like a lot of folks have replaced Christmas cards with an extra Zoom call to someone over the holidays, things like that. And maybe could be some of that. All right, let's Andy saying I handwrite my Christmas cards. So congrats. I used to do about 100, but now it's down to 20. All right, let me say this, because you mentioned handwriting your Christmas cards. I found a lot of letters over the weekend. People had written my mom had written things like that. I forgot what it's like to read a letter that's been written in cursive, especially someone that's written in cursive from like 60 years ago. How do you even read it? I mean, I could because I'm of a certain age. I gave it to my nieces who were over there and said, "Hey, what does this say?" They look and say, then you don't read cursive. The only time I write cursive is when I sign my name or once in a blue moon when I write a check. And how often is that nowadays, right? You just don't use cursive anymore. And now I feel like I was ahead of the game because I was an engineer. So I started printing a long time before it was in vogue. But now that's what everyone does, right? Is cursive going to go away? Is it going to be like the hieroglyphics of some future civilization? They're going to say, we found all this correspondence. We think they're talking to each other. Well, you don't know what it says. It looks a little bit like it could be language, and we recognize a little, it looks like zeros or O's here, but we can't tell what the rest of this stuff is. Z's, yeah, we don't have a clue. So, it just, you don't see cursive anymore. And I'm not sure I necessarily miss it. It's hard to write. I guess you can write it faster, but I find out, I know I'm going off on tangent. I took my senior year of high school. I also found my high school diploma, which, yay, I graduated. I found my high school diploma, and I had to take typing my last year of high school. And I thought, well, this will be great. College, writing reports, things like that. Oh my gosh. Whatever speed I typed at back then, I'm double that on the computer nowadays. And it's not because I took some class. It's just because I spent so much time on laptops and computers, as have we all, that it's just, I don't even think about it. I just type away. If I could type then the way I type now, I got an A+. They would just exempted me and sent me home. Instead, I got a C+. That was one of the lower grades I ever got in my high school career. I'm not real happy with that teacher, whose name shall be remain nameless. But I know who she is, and I've never forgotten that you gave me that grade. All right. Yeah, I know I'm going on tangents. Cindy Hire saying, curious about the background tonight. All right, we'll talk about it. Karen Loveland saying, what's your background? The inside of a building. The inside of the Dixie Chicken, my favorite bar, my favorite saloon. What does that have to do with Christmas? Nothing whatsoever, except just like Die Hard 365 days a year, the Dixie Chicken's good 365 days a year. Now, I was in a hurry getting through some work task and didn't have a chance to really go in and do a whole lot with my backgrounds. I saw this one out here and thought, well, they aren't Christmas lights, but there is some blue and some green and some yellow. So, and some red right over me. It seems like it could be Christmas, right? They certainly have a lot of deer right over here. They've got a lot of deer on the wall. So I hope none of them have red noses. Wow, that would traumatize a whole lot of people real quick. Which makes me think that would be a fun prank next time I go up to the Dixie Chicken. Maybe take some of those little red noses with me and just see what I can do. No, it's just the Dixie Chicken. I just was reminiscing about times of old. A&M, where I went to Texas A&M, y'all may know, we had our yearbooks back then. Big old thick yearbooks. There's a lot of students who went to school there. I don't think they even do yearbooks anymore. I'm surprised they did it back then, but I went and had a picture made, and I looked through the yearbooks while I was gathering them up and said, oh, well, that's cool. There's my picture. It shows I was really there in college. Closed it. I'll probably not look at them again until another 20 years from now. But we had yearbooks, and it did make me think of the Dixie Chicken just a little bit. Let's see what else we have on here. I need to look at some of these favorite movies and stuff. I'll go back in just a second. Amy Bonner is saying, notice when they got their letters from home that their family knew what was going on. So either they knew before they left or they filled them in and then they wrote them. Yeah, it's weird because it's only 26 days or so when I got the letter. And it looked like they were letters that were actually written by their family members, as opposed, y'all may not know this. When my wife wrote my HOH letter, she wrote it and she sent it to production, and then they typed it out or wrote it out or something else. It wasn't my wife who actually wrote the letter. And I think it's because they didn't want to take any chance that people would maybe send you messages or something like that by capitalizing certain letters or the positioning. I don't know. I think they were just being very cautious. But if I recall, her letter was written like right when I went in the house before there was really anything going on. Now, later in the season, I do think there were some letters where they reached back out and said, can we get some more letters? And so maybe people were a little bit more aware. But I would be surprised that the survivor letters would have taken place because they're not watching it live. So anything they know and talk about, and maybe that's what it is. Production can tell them little bits and pieces about what's going on so they can personalize it a little bit. But beyond that, they don't know what, because it's not being shown until so much after they were off the island. So they don't know what was going on at that point in time. I'm glad you brought up those letters because I was sitting there thinking about it. Y'all remember that Sam won. He had to take 2 people with him. It was, obviously he's going to make people upset with him. When they said all the food and you're going to spend the night there and you're getting letters from home, I was sitting there thinking, gosh, I almost feel like he was in a no-win situation at that point in time. He was going to make someone mad no matter what, which was rough. And we know they do that every year. But we saw earlier where they all gave up their shot in the dark in exchange for getting the rice, right? And it was kind of new, and Jeff Probst had to think about it and all that. What do y'all think would have happened if Sam had said, look, Jeff, we all want these letters from home. I know there's only 3 of us. They're not going to get any. What if, in exchange for all of us getting letters from home, we give up the feast and we give up getting to spend the night at the Oasis or whatever, the sanctuary, whatever they call it? What if we give up all the extra rewards in exchange for all of us getting letters from home? Now, on the one hand, you may be hurting yourself because you don't get to talk about strategy. You don't get to fill yourself up with some protein and carbohydrates and things like that. So it definitely can be a disadvantage to you. But if you do that, do the other people who otherwise aren't going to get anything, do they feel so beholden to you that they may not keep you? They may even be more insistent that you go home because now you got that huge thing to brag about when you make it to the final 3. But if you somehow make it to the final 3, are people more kind and more willing to maybe give you the award if you do that? And then you say, look, I took a chance. I risked my own game just because there's some things beyond the game. I wanted y'all to be able to have your letters from home. And, there's some mushy talk like that. I think it was a dangerous play and he didn't do it. I kept waiting to see if he would. That's what I would have done, I think. Of course, when you're hungry out there, maybe things change. But the other question, do you think Jeff Probst would have done it? Would he have said, yeah, sure, everyone gets their letters if you're willing to give up all the food and everything? I think he would have, just for that hallmark moment of everyone crying over their letters and thanking Sam and then talking about now we're really going to get him out because he's going to win if not. And I think he would have done it. And it would have been such a cool twist to happen, but it didn't. But that's what I may have done if I wasn't starving. And I think they're all starving. Not Applebee's level starving, but close. All right. Ma saying, Ma, I hope you're doing well. Ma saying, I want Sue to win, but think she's going to be losing finalist. Andy's getting a winners at it. Yeah, I kind of think you're right. And isn't that funny that Andy started off getting kind of a bumblers at it, and then they've just slowly started changing the way he's done it. I like Sue. I'm always going to cheer for Sue because she's the older person out there, right? But I just don't see her. Of all the people that are left, Sue maybe is the one that I just don't see making it. Now I do see her. I could see her making Final 4. What happens if you get fire making between Andy and Sue? I don't know. Maybe I haven't been paying enough attention who's good at fire making this season, who's not. I just don't feel like they've shown it as much as maybe seasons past. So we may get some surprises there, but yeah, I don't think Sue's going to win it either. But she certainly has surprised a lot of people and done pretty well for herself. So props to Sue for everything that she's done. And she still has that power, right? The immunity. So she could still surprise someone. And that may be what launches her into Final 4 or Final 3. I don't remember. Usually it's like the last 5 or 6 is the last time you can use those things, right? So it may save her at some point because now she theoretically is on the bottom in terms of majority. It's incredible how this thing has flipped back and forth this season. Yeah, we'll see how Sue does now that she's kind of in a different position. How well does she recover? And that's what I've always liked from Big Brother. I don't like where you've got a season where people steamroll from day one to the very end and they're never under threat. I like to see that power flip flopping and see how people respond to it. Lord knows that happened with my season a few times. I was on the bottom way too many times, not on top enough times. But same with Survivor. I like to see the people who can pivot from a bad position into a good and see what they do when it goes the opposite direction. It was a couple of weeks ago where they said, you can come into tribal council and be the happiest person in the world. And just a few minutes later, your whole world is falling apart. Or it could be the opposite direction. I think Gabriel maybe said that, Gabe, but yeah, it's definitely the case with these reality shows. Yeah, we'll see how Sue does. But I think you're right, Ma. I don't see Sue making it all the way either. But I could see her getting close, and that'll be all right. Again, I don't really care who makes it at this point. I just want Andy to do well. Talking about fooling me. I was so ready to see him go, man, and now I'm cheering for him. All right, Amy is saying Rachel has an advantage and an idol. I think she has a great chance. Yeah, I agree. Rachel, and she does well. She wins when she needs to win, right? I mean, she certainly has held her own on the competitions, and eventually we're going to see one of those competitions where the balls are rolling down the different frames, and I think she would do well at a game like that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned her. I think she'll make I feel like I'm saying everyone. I feel like she could make the final 3 seats as well. Rachel versus Andy would be quite the discussion point, right? I'm in. I'm buying it. That sounds all right to me. All right, let's see. Big Jake is favorite movies. All right, Sharon took care of me. She's got favorite movies from a lot of y'all, so I don't have to try to scan through as much. Thank you, wife. Sharon's got me covered here. Favorite movies are Mark Taylor saying Christmas Story is the best. I would agree with you until I saw it for about the 200th time. And now we watch it just because it's on, but I've seen it so many times. Fragile. Ed is saying Bad Santa with Billy Bob Thornton. I'm becoming more of a Billy Bob Thornton fan because I'm watching Landman and I like every episode that I've seen so far. So yeah, I need to go back and watch it. It's been a while. Bad Santa. Big Jake, scary movie dude, is saying love Jingle All the Way. Turbo Man. Yeah, I couldn't remember what that guy's name was. The little creature or doll or what. Superhero action figure. That's what they got, right? Not doll, action figure. Turbo Man. Thank you, Big Jake. I couldn't remember that. Lance Davies is saying Gremlins. I saw Gremlins at the movie theater. I never really thought that as a Christmas movie. I need to go back and check that one out. I like Gremlins. I don't know how I haven't seen it in a while. Does it carry over nowadays or little special effects because that came out in the late 80s, right? I think so. Mid 80s, probably, if I'm remembering, about mid 80s. But that's a good one. Laura West, word is saying The Year Without a Santa Claus. I've seen it. I know. I just I can imagine what the plot may be based on the title, but I need to check it out again. Andy W. and Amy Bonner saying Christmas Story. Yeah, a bunch of people vote for that. Karen Hummer, Christmas Carol. There's so many Christmas carols out there. Sharon and I have talked about this before. Our favorite is from the 1930s, right after movies became talking movies. The old version is maybe our favorite, followed very closely by a Muppet Christmas Carol. You can't go wrong with the Muppets. What did Kermit play? Kermit played Tiny Tim, if I recall on that. Pretty good. But the original 1930s version is the best. And then Carol Mosier is saying Miracle on 34th Street. Now there is a remake, but I'll go with the original any day of the week. Yeah, that was great. I like Miracle on 34th Street. We went to New York City. We watched the Macy's Thanksgiving parade, and I told Sharon, I said, we saw all this stuff in New York City when we went up there for Nicole's wedding last March, but we forgot to go by Macy's. It would have been cool. It wasn't Christmas time, but it still would have been cool to go by and just be in that store because you hear so much about it. But yeah, I'm probably my favorite growing up as a kid is Miracle on 34th Street. Just because I don't know, let you know that the magic never ends completely, right? There are a lot of good things about that. All right, let's see. Paul Long is saying Home Alone. Yeah, how did we forget? I like Home Alone. Y'all got some fantastic ones. So many Christmas stories out there. I got one more for y'all, and I'll call this Christmas. I think it could be Thanksgiving. I don't know. It's a holiday movie that's one of my favorites as well. I almost forgot. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with Steve Martin and John Candy. Oh my God, those aren't pillows. I love that. Everything about that movie. Those two guys just worked well together. And again, I don't know if Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, but trying to get home for the holidays in a snowstorm. So I'll throw that in there. All right, my friend out here, Dr. Bose. Dr. Bose, how are you doing? I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving and everything wonderful going on as we get ready for Christmas. Dr. Bose is saying, howdy, Cliff. You should get past house guests together and do an annual 12-month calendar. Would it be allowed? I don't know. It's interesting. We sign away our soul to CBS and Fly on the Wall Productions on. They still control everything. It used to be a year, then it was 2 years that they basically could control what podcast you go on, what TV show, everything about everything. If I came to them and said, hey, we're doing a calendar, they probably would be okay with it, especially if it was a fundraiser for charity or something like that. And, and as long as they probably got to go in and review the pictures first and do some things here and there, they'd probably be cool with it. But I don't know. I don't see me reaching out to all these house guests and saying, hey, Cliff from Big Brother season 21, I'm shooting a calendar. Yeah, can I come by and take some photos of you? Of course, their first question probably be, well, what kind of photos are you wanting, Cliff? Very nice, polite themed photos and all of that. Yeah, it would be fun to do. I'm surprised someone hadn't tried to do it that actually is a real photographer that actually has some background. We did for my mom. It was actually a lot of fun. I've got a sister-in-law who did a calendar every year for my mom of all these different family photos. And so we got a chance to go look through a lot of those things, and she would try to theme it. So someone, while they're out in the snow, would be in December. If you're at the beach, it'd be in July and all that. And it was fun watching all the different families, especially the kids as they got older over the years. But yeah, I think a calendar would be fun. How come no one asked me to be on a calendar? I would have posed. I could have been Mr. I don't know, April or something. When I was born, I'd be Mr. whatever. But no, I think it's a fantastic idea. They had over the weekend, for those of you who don't know, we used to do Give Kids the World charity, raise money for Give Kids the World Village. I'm not sure what really happened. Something happened. They canceled last year. This year, they did what they call Over the Edge, which was another fundraiser. And I'm not even sure who it was a fundraiser for, but it was at the same location where we used to do that other fundraiser. And people were rappelling off of the top of this like 5-story hotel and doing it. They raised money if they would rappel off and all of that. And they raised a lot of money, but there were a lot of folks there. I saw a whole lot of the Big Brother 26 folks that were all there hanging out. And we had some traders. We had a lot of different folks on the that showed up at that thing. And I didn't get to go this season. There's just too much going on with family life and all of that. But there are a lot of folks there. Some I've met before, some who I haven't. I kind of missed. It was kind of cool seeing them all there, but they had an absolute blast. I'll mention this as well. Do we have any Love Island fans out there? I'm sure there's a few of y'all, right, that watch Love Island. For Dr. Bose, thank you. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the super star. I didn't mean to ramble and move on, but yeah, I'm all for a calendar. Maybe more so as a subject than a photographer, just because I don't know. Nowadays, you don't have to be a photographer to take great pictures, I guess, right? Back in the day, maybe a little different. Nowadays, I'd chop off people's head or have them off frame or something like that. But I think it's a great idea. But thank you for the support, Dr. Bose. Much appreciated. All right. What was I saying? Oh, anyone watch Love Island? I met a guy today, a salesman for another company that I interact with some. He's got a buddy by the name of Nigel who was on Love Island. So we didn't get a chance to share stories or anything, but I'm going to talk to him and find out how did Nigel do? What was Love Island like? I'm looking forward to hearing a bit of the background gossip from him. So any of y'all who've seen Love Island, I now know someone who knows Nigel. So I'll get the inside scoop for y'all guys. All right, let's see. What else? 750, so quick. Hunter Green is saying, my Big Brother comic would be the Bull Whisperer. Now, that'd be pretty good. Have we had a bull before? Maybe with Whistle Nut Noli from back in season 19, I think. Misfire saying my BB comic would be CPK dolls and images of Washington D.C. Okay, you can have Washington Monument up there and all kinds of cool stuff. I guess that when I got my BB comic, the groundhog, he'll never see you coming. Or I was like, when I did the first competition, I even forgot that I was one of the characters. I was so busy trying to win that thing. It didn't dawn on me until I saw it. I was like, okay. Probably could have done something a little different. I really figured it to have something to do with, the hog, the biggest mouth of the West or something, and have me yelling and Christy next to a door or something like that. Yeah. They could have really gone after some of the stuff I did in there. Or the I don't know, something with the battle back with me rolling balls and knocking people over like bowling pins or something. But they didn't. They did the ground, and that was okay. I've actually seen that groundhog comment show up on a couple of the past seasons, which is kind of cool when you get that unexpected surprise. Speaking of bowling pins and all that, I saw a little video from Nick Macarone from my season, house guest Nick. He's a fantastic bowler, which I'd kind of forgotten about, but he had a 7-11 split, which means the pins are as far away as they can. He took that down. He hit one, it bounced over, hit the other one, and I'm thoroughly impressed. I know when he was in the house, he talked to Tyler, because Tyler, I guess, is a big bowler. When Tyler came in to host one of the comps and said, man, I want to go bowling with you. And Tyler, yeah, absolutely. I was pretty impressed watching Nick bowl. I've never been that kind of bowler. I've always been just kind of run and fling it down the thing and hope that I throw it hard enough it knocks over a few pins and I'm accurate enough it kind of hits somewhere in the center. So I got a little work to do on my bowling game. All right. Michelle Moore is saying, Elf. Oh, how did we forget Elf? Elf is a good movie. Such a great movie. You sit on a throne of lies. Yeah. Him and Bob, they are perfect. How did I forget that? Well, that's Jingle on my way, Jingle all the way could still be there, but Elf's pretty good. And then Amy is saying, Dad loves the Muppets Christmas Carol. Man after my own heart. Yeah, I love me some Muppets. The Rainbow Connections video, I listen to. We got our Spotify Wrapped. All of us got that stuff right. I'm surprised that Kermit the Frog wasn't one of my top 5 because I listen to that song all the time. I love all the Muppets shows, from the original Muppet Show all the way to the one they did with who's the live action folks, Amy and whatever. Anyway, I like a lot of it. Every time we go to Disney World, we always have to make sure we go see Muppets 3D or 4D or whatever it is. So yeah, liking the Muppets Christmas Carol, but Elf, I feel like I let you guys down not mentioning that one. Yeah, I watch Elf a lot when it comes on. All right, Moss saying Cliff's not a bowler. I can roll balls down a winding ramp when my life depends on it. Not so much when they're just sitting still at the end of a long waxed alley. I do all right. It's just not a lot of form to my bowling. All right, Miss Fire was saying, was a balloon handler for 6 years in Macy's parade. That's pretty cool. Now that's something to put down on the resume. As a kid, I always had you all think about, could you get enough balloons that you'd float away? Kind of like the old man on Up, a show I've never seen because I've heard the first few minutes is so depressing. I just don't feel like it. But I've seen the clip of the guy floating away with the balloon. But yeah, I always think that when I see those big old balloons and everyone holding them down and all, what if half the people, just as a prank, said, let go? There's one poor soul in the front go, Snoopy Dog and me are going to go over to Europe. So help me, guys. That's pretty cool. I can't say I've ever been a parade float holder of any sort whatsoever. It did a cool. Who came up with the idea of let's inflate really big floats of different characters and we'll march them through the streets for Thanksgiving? I'm not sure how that all came to play, but I'm kind of glad they do it. I wish they'd show a little bit more of the floats when they do these Thanksgiving parades, because it seems like they're so busy showing a little song and dance on it. We missed some of the bands and we missed some of the floats. I know Ma got gypped because she was on during a commercial timeout when they marched by. Yeah, I want my marching bands and I want my floats. So, all right, cool. Maybe that's something I need to add to my bucket list. Macy's Day balloon handler. We'll see. Maybe if I go take some calendar shots and become a successful calendar photographer. Maybe I could do that as a backup or after that happens. All right, Marilyn saying, did you play Bolarama in your season of Big Brother? No, we did not have Bolarama. I wish we had. Nick was incredible. We had half a dozen people in that house, mainly Nick, who got nauseous at even the idea of spinning around. They could not handle it at all. So I feel like there's a lot of people that I could have immediately dominated. I can't say I'm the best dancer ever, but Sharon and I certainly have done a little country ballroom dancing. And I do know that when you're kind of spinning around, you have to spot, you have to keep your, look at one thing while you spin and all that. We did that final HOH competition where we're on the ropes and we're spinning around. Now, I didn't stay up there long enough for the dizziness to ever kick in, but I do feel like I would have been, and I've always handled roller coasters incredibly well. So I feel like I would have done okay with Bolarama, but they didn't have it in my season. I guess that was not considered physical enough. We got the uber physical competitions instead. And Bolarama was just putting on tutus and spinning around. I would have done okay. I say that. It's easy to say it now, but we didn't do it. So I didn't get to display my fine lack of bowling skills. I would have done okay. All right, let's see what else we got. 7:56, so quick. All right. Oh, I almost forgot. We're going to shut it down, but before we do, we have next week a very special guest. If you recall, I had a few special guests on early in our season. A longtime listener, follower, commenter out here on Cliff Notes Live, Wyatt Garrett is going to be on celebrating his birthday coming up. So in honor of Wyatt's birthday, and just because he's an all-around good dude, Wyatt is going to be on next week. So we'll talk to Wyatt a little bit. He's big into country music. I met Wyatt up in Dallas at the premiere of the Big Brother this season. Got to meet him in person, which was cool. So Wyatt, we're going to make it happen. So Wyatt will be joining me next week. I'm sure we'll talk a little country music. We'll talk a little Billy Bob's of Texas. We'll talk some reality TV, and certainly we're going to have some fun Survivor to talk about. So yes, Wyatt, I appreciate you coming on. We're going to do that with Wyatt, and then I'd like to do that some more the next part of the year. So for those of you who maybe haven't had a chance to come on yet, if you've been following the show for a while, you'd like to maybe push it a little bit and do something a little bit scary sometimes, let me know, and maybe we can schedule some things, because I like to hear who y'all are and learn a little bit about y'all. And I know there's a lot of other people out here who would love to see the faces and the voices and everything behind some of these names. So we need to do that. Y'all let me know. But next week, Wyatt Garrett, and I'm so looking forward to it. It's gonna be so much fun. All right, guys, with that, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down. It's about that time. So I'll finish off with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV. Love you guys who join me every Monday night. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dr. Bozo, thank you for the support as well. But thanks to all of y'all. Do appreciate that. Please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, hitting the thumbs up, because who knows what's going to happen after Christmas. We may just go crazy and put videos out. I got a few things I'm working on. So we'll see what happens. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. Stay warm if you're in a cold part of the country. I will see y'all next Monday. Wyatt and I'll see y'all next Monday. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. See if I can turn this off now. All right, y'all have a good night, guys. Talk to y'all later. Bye.